All right, we're live on this beautiful snowy day.
And I just wanted to show this hat that I stole from my sister-in-law. And no, you're not going to get it back. I don't care how hard you work to earn this Spartan hat. It's mine.
It's awesome.
I love you, Serena.
We got like 11 inches of snow last night, so it's been amazing, and it's like 20 degrees, so it's not going anywhere.
Yeah, and the kids are here.
Everyone's here. Well, it doesn't. The kids are always here.
Oh yeah.
So we gave them a snow day, even though they technically could.
I know, we homeschool.
School.
There are no snow days in homeschool. There are no snow days when you work from home, period.
I know. But we've been working. It's kind of a bummer, but
she has.
So we talked about, we asked someone, what's a good topic this week, and my sister-in-law brought up the fact of how do you find romance and intimacy and connection with your spouse when you have little kids in the house, especially if you don't have support. And we've lived that because we moved to Missouri for 2 years between 2010 and 2012, and we didn't know anybody. We didn't have family close by. We knew no one.
Best time ever.
So it was really nice. It was a really good time just to connect, the four of us.
It actually was a really good time.
Mm-hmm.
So how did we solve this problem?
Because we still wanted to find some time together. Now,
it's really, really important that you continually date each other through your marriage.
Absolutely.
It makes a stronger marriage.
You have stuff on your shirt.
If you don't, I'm like, they can't see that, but now everyone's going to focus on my chest area because it's ripped. All right, so we actually did this, of going to a different state. We actually went to a different country, but a different state, and then we didn't know anyone. So how do you do that when you do not have a support system? So I think one of the first things that I did in the new position that I was working is I asked specifically, how many days could I take off? And the whole plan was, could I take a Friday off, work some extra hours so that I could take that Friday and date my wife during the day while the kids were at school? It was really important for us to kind of reconnect, and then day dates. Day dates are awesome.
They are.
Everything is open, and you could just kind of go out and chill.
It's fun.
And so I would encourage you to do that if you don't have a support system. So if your kids go to daycare, if they go to school, and you have that time where one of you is just sitting at home doing nothing. No, but you have that time where you both can get away, even just for a couple hours, that will actually do anything. And you could technically just do it on the cheap. Once the kids are gone, then you could do whatever you want to do in the bedroom.
Absolutely.
They're gone.
Yes, they're gone. Yeah. But also, when we first moved there,
okay.
Exactly. When we first moved there, our kids were little. One was in kindergarten, but the other one wasn't in school yet. And so I actually found a daycare lady. And if she watches, I love her to death. My friend Christy, and I'm still friends with her in Missouri. She lived 2 houses down and had an in-home daycare. And I just had Caleb go to her house once or twice a week. And it was, $20 here or there. It's probably gone up for a day of daycare now. But considering that was 9 years ago.
Man, you're old.
Oh, my word. But that really helped me get, not only just for us, but it helped get things done. I could go shopping. I could get things done, not have to worry about, caring for a little kid here or there. I honestly don't think there's anything wrong with daycare. I know this is a controversial subject. I think if you find someone that you trust, that could be another mom. It could be a single mom that might need some help. It could be a lot of different things rather than just, people are like, you're just letting someone else raise your kid. You know what? In today's society.
It wasn't every single day. But in today's society,
it's almost impossible to work or just live comfortably without a dual income. So, but I use that literally just for our day dates and having some time alone and just to not go crazy at home with a child, a 2-year-old. But yeah, I joined the MOPS group. So I found, well, you guys talk about it.
Yes. So I'm all excited. I got to get all my words out. We eventually, since they were, just one house down, we became really good friends. Yeah. And I would advise you, biblically, and just being a good neighbor, understand who your neighbors are, because they might be going through things that you could be a blessing, and then when you're going through things, then they're a blessing to you. That's the whole point of a neighborhood.
Love your neighbor as yourself.
Eventually what we did is we started trading nights. So she and her husband could go out on a date, and we would watch her daughter, and then we would go out on a date and they would watch our boys. Yeah. It wasn't fair for them because we had 2 to 1, but no, they had 2. They had
have two.
They had two
boy
kids.
and a girl.
Yeah.
Well, one family, they watched our kids a lot. And every time our kids were over there, there'd be a tornado warning. So she's like, I don't want your kids anymore, because they had a basement, so it was actually safer than our house.
We had a crawl space.
But honestly, it's so important. Don't wait till your kids are 5 and 6 to go to school before you actually like, hey, how are you again?
Yeah.
That's 5 years out of your life or more, depending on how many children you have, that you're not connecting. You're not being intimate. And honestly, if you don't do this, you will notice it.
Yeah.
If you do connect on a regular basis, you'll notice you just have a general affection for each other. And wow, our marriage is going pretty good. It's because you're doing these little things. You know, you're connecting at least on a weekly basis. One of our podcasts says yearly, monthly, and weekly. So like weekly, set aside a time for a date night. It could be just at the coffee shop, out for dessert, a walk around the park. Maybe not today because it's snowing, but that would be fun too.
Today is a great day if you want to get fit. Yeah.
Oh yeah, go trudging around in 11 inches of snow.
All right, and then you have monthly, and that would be like a sleepover, the time that your parents or friends can watch the kids overnight if you can swing that. And then the yearly is actually a separate vacation.
You're getting
entirely.
away.
Just
the two of you.
Those are things that you should put on your calendar, plan for, and save for. Don't go into debt to do these things. Just save for them, and then proceed that way.
Yeah.
I totally forgot what it is. Oh, one of the major things that I wanted
up the routine,
that I wanted to go over is we went to a marriage conference for pastors, and the person speaking said, "Look, I want to raise my kids to be an adult when they leave the house, not to be an adult, not to be a teenager when they leave the house." And I know it's controversial because we helicopter all of our kids all of the time, but the moment that you can leave your kids home alone is the moment that it actually gives you tons of freedom. And I'm not saying leave your 5-year-old home alone. I'm not saying that at all. But when your kids are responsible enough to leave them home alone, and you know that they are, then you can have a date whenever you want. It's like you're single again. It's the best thing over. But I'm going to say that you're going to have to prepare them for that. I think what we did originally is we went to coffee. We just left them home alone and went to coffee.
We're 5 minutes away.
Here's
everything.
We're
there for 45 minutes, or go to the grocery store.
Thanks for pointing out the misspelling. Jerk. Okay. All right. So you kind of just test them out. We're going to go to coffee and then come back and see. We're going to go a little bit longer, and then what we'll do is we'll say we'll be back in a certain time, but come back earlier just to see what they're doing. So it's kind of, you kind of do this whole surprise, hey, I'm going to make sure that you're okay. And what we built with our oldest is trust points. Look, the more that we trust you, the more freedom that you're going to have. The less that we could trust you, the less freedom that you're going to have. And it's kind of this way because he's a teenager and he's trying to figure out how to live. And so I went and had a drink with the guys, and they were talking about not letting their kids cook when they aren't home. I let my kids cook when we aren't home all the time. They can cook eggs, they can cook mac and cheese, they know how to use the microwave, and you know your kids. And so how I coach them through that is, hey, if you're going to make bacon, you use the microwave, you don't do it in a pan because I don't want a grease fire. And by the way, do you know how to stop a grease fire? Let's go over that.
Yeah.
And this summer, I'll create a grease fire, and they can practice putting it out.
Not in the house.
Not in the house. That's why I said this summer, and I pointed outside. You don't know outside is that way. But... But you kind of understand that I am training my kids to do things without me around, because when they go to college, I'm never going to be around, and they're going to have to make those good choices.
Yeah, I'm raising adults.
Right. I'm here to raise an adult. I'm not here to raise a 30-year-old that still lives with me, because I will boot him out in the snow. I tell my kids all the time, 18, you're out. Go find a job. Go do something. You're not going to live here because this is my primary relationship. Go find your own primary relationship.
Somebody asked me that in 5 years. See how that's going.
But, and we're not saying, like, right now, you guys need to go out on a date and leave your kids at home. What we are saying is that you need to start preparing and understanding how you can leave your kids at home. Find another family that you can trust and do kid swap. That's a great one. Find a daycare that you can drop your kids off during the day. And then the working spouse or both of you take that day off and go on a day date. And then our church does date nights where you could drop your kid off at the date night.
YMCA does that as well. You know, they do a lot of stuff like that.
Yes, they do.
And like you were saying with your neighbors, when our boys were a little bit littler and we would leave them. I mean, we have almost a 15-year-old now. we would tell our neighbors that we trust across the street, hey, are you guys home this evening? Because we're going to go on a date. So they know to contact you if there's an emergency. Yep, we are right there. So that's another good way of getting in connection with your neighbors is that if you trust them, tell them we're going to be gone for about an hour. Can you be the backup if there's anything our kids need?
And we have 2 boys. And so from an early on age, I've told my oldest boy that you are your brother's keeper. And so I have instilled into him that when we are not around, he is responsible for his little brother. And then now the little brother, I go, little brother, you need to be responsible for your big brother by keeping him accountable to making sure that he's not doing anything that
inappropriate
we should know about.
Yeah.
So then that way I have this endless circle to where they're continually tattletelling on one another.
Anyway, it can be done, but the biggest thing we want you to take away from them is don't neglect that time when your kids are little.
It does take a concerted effort.
Absolutely. You have to be intentional. It will not happen. It won't just be like, hey, spontaneous. We have no kids.
Hey, Bob's next door. Let's just give them our kids and go out on a date. No.
You have to plan and be intentional, even more so when they're little.
Barbecues during the summer are great for that, to get to know your neighbors and get to know people that you think would be a good fit for your kid. If your kids get along and that would be a great fit, then have a barbecue and have them all over and then have the conversation, get to know them. I'm not just saying throw your kids at a stranger and go on a date. Because
you can be a benefit to them as well, and if you're going to ask, be willing to accept some responsibility on their behalf as well.
Especially when their kids are littering at the change.
I hope that everybody around us that we know understands that, their kids can come to us if need be, if there's an emergency as well.
Yeah, our house tends to be the fun house, which is a great house to be. And the reason why I like being the fun house with a bunch of kids over here is, 1, I always know where my kids are, and 2, I can be another parent for the other kids that come over. So I just want to echo what their parents are saying, which is grow up, be respectful, and get a job.
Is that what they're saying?
That's what every dad is saying. Grow up, be respectful, and get a job.
All right, speaking of, now we can let the little ones come in for some hot chocolate. They've been freezing their toes off.
Does anyone have any questions real quick? Going once. Going twice.
You could always still post it. We won't
answer any questions unless you ask right now.
You guys can always message us if you have questions, even very intimate ones. We will answer them anonymously.
We won't answer them at all. Some random person.
I do. What do you got, Jake?
What's your question?
Come on, Jake. Anyway, go to getdatebox.com and type in Have a Marriage 50, all one word, 50 the number, and you can get 50% off your first date. That we love using them. So I have lots of questions.
Jake, what is your question? Do it in the bedroom. I don't know.
Do it on the kitchen counter.
Does this hat make me look fat?
Yes, because it looks like a little condom.
Do you want to build a snowman?
All right. We love you guys.
All right.
We will talk to you next Monday.